So I just want to explain how I became a Muslim and a communist. Back in 2016, when Donald Trump beat Hillary in the election, I had a childish rebellion and I decided to leave the country. I was working as a software engineer in Virginia, Northern Virginia, and I just quit and basically left the country. The first place I went to was Ukraine, where I took the train, drank some beer and ate some sausage with some Ukrainian guys, gave some cigarettes to the homeless, and stayed in a few hotels there. And after that, I left Ukraine and I stayed in an Airbnb in Estonia, Narva, Estonia, for a couple days. And then I went to Tallinn, Estonia, and stayed in a hotel. Didn't really find anything. So I took off to Helsinki, Finland. In Helsinki, Finland, I met two friends. One is Tommy Hamilinen and the other is Willie Jarvinen. And we hung out for a while. We drank some beer, smoked some cigarettes. Tommy Hamilinen introduced me to the Mint Linux platform and some Swedish death metal. And we hung out for a little bit, and then I was referred by the citizens of Helsinki, Finland, to go ahead and get a Russian visa. And they referred me to Svetlana in Helsinki, and she provides Russian visas. It's like $150 for a very long visa. It's like a 5-year visa, but you have to renew it every 6 months. And I went ahead and stayed in an Airbnb in Helsinki, Finland until I received my Russian visa. And I was so frustrated that Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton in the 2016 election that my next move was I decided to take asylum in Reykjavik, Iceland. And so I flew into the Reykjavik, Iceland airport and claimed asylum, and they took me to the immigration dorms where I met a couple key figures. One being Sam Shalal, a refugee from Syria who's Orthodox Christian. He speaks Syriac and Arabic and English, and he did some prayers for me. He introduced me to the Syriac language, Syriac Orthodox, stuff like that. The other key figure being Alexei Yuknevich. He was a Belarusian refugee seeking asylum from Putin's influence, and he introduced me to why Putin's bad and things like of this nature. The last key figure being Rustam Akayev, was a Russian Leninist, Stalinist from Moscow and Dagestan, and he was claiming asylum for his political views against Putin. And we discussed, I used DeepL and Google Translate to speak with Rustam Akayev, and eventually I gained relationships with Rustam Akayev over the other two, and he introduced me to his mother, and Iceland denied my asylum claims, and they were going to deport me back to America, but they gave me the option to go see Rustam Akayev's mother in Moscow, Russia. So I went ahead and did that. So I bought some tickets to Moscow, Russia with my Russian visa from Svetlana in Helsinki, and I flew into Russia, met up with Rustam Akayev's mother. She took me to an apartment that was owned by a Russian Leninist Stalinist named Greshnik, a veteran, and I was able to stay in there for free at first just by providing them vodka and cigarettes and food. So I did this, and I met Rustam Akayev's brother, Ruslan Akayev, and he introduced me to Islam and Leninism. He's from Dagestan, Russia, and he gave me some pamphlets. They're in Russian, but I just used Google Translate and DeepL to communicate with them all, and DeepL is superior to Google Translate. DeepL is a great tool, and I was able to just use my phone, Google Translate and DeepL, and communicate with them all. And I learned some of the Islamic prayer techniques from his Russian booklets from Dagestan. And then I met another Russian who was staying in the apartment named Dmitry Nikolaevich, and he introduced me to the Russian Orthodox Church, and they wanted me to get married to a woman named Masha, and Ruslan Akayev was going to have me go take a train to Dagestan to get a Dagestanian passport and marry Masha, but they were having a party, and there was a guy named Igor who is a Russian, and a girl named Labov. And I ended up falling in love with Labov, and I wanted to marry Labov instead, and it wasn't possible. So eventually there was another Leninist, Stalinist Russian veteran named Gennady, who introduced me to some homes that the Russian Orthodox provides for males who are unemployed, and they provide employment and stuff like that. And after I paid Greshnik like 2,000 USD because Dmitry Nikolaevich helped me get a Spur bank account, and I got a Spur bank account where I transferred 2,000 USD from my account into the Spur bank account and paid Greshnik. I stayed there for like 4 months, and it was only 2,000 USD, and I paid for their internet, gave them vodka and food and stuff like that. And Masha made great Russian meals. And then after that, I didn't want to stay with him anymore because I didn't want to marry Masha. I wanted to marry Labov or find another woman. And Gennady introduced me to the Russian Orthodox homes. And I stayed in a home, and I met a Russian Orthodox Christian named Daniel. And he spoke English, luckily, so he was able to translate for me. And eventually, after working in construction for like 4 months or something like that, getting paid in Russian dollars, I eventually moved out of there because I identified as Muslim because of what Rustam Makayev taught me with Leninism and the pamphlets he gave me, and I just identified as Muslim, and I didn't really see myself as Russian Orthodox, and the homes were only for Russian Orthodox believers. So I actually tried to seek employment as a social media marketing expert through Valady was his name, who owned the Russian Orthodox homes. And he interviewed me, but when he found out I was a Muslim, I couldn't stay there anymore. So after that, I met a Russian Orthodox Turkish woman, or Iraqi woman, I can't remember her ethnicity, but she helped me go to a hostel in Moscow where I bought plane tickets back to New York City. And when I came back to New York City, I just went back to my parents' house, and that's basically how I became a Muslim and a communist. It's kind of a long video, but please watch it. And when I get the chance, when I get enough money, I spent like $30,000 on this, and when I get another $30,000 in my bank account, I'll probably go back to Helsinki, Finland through Svetlana and get another Russian visa. My mistake was I wasn't aware of Leninist, Stalinist views at that time. It wasn't until these Russians introduced it to me that I became communist. But Moscow is not the right place. The right place is Akademgorodok in Siberia. It's a scientific center that is Leninist, and that's the place that I need to visit. Again, my experiences and my favor of Russian women just makes me want to go back there, but it costs money, and Putin's pretty bad. So I think once I save another $30,000, if I'm still single, I'll probably go to Akademgorodok, Siberia, Novosibirsk, and try to get married or something. Maybe see if I could even get employed at Akademgorodok because I'm a scientist myself.